Hi, and welcome to February 2022 Patreon rewards video. So let's get to it. As you remember, last month I was working on some Simpsons running cycles. So I finished the Lisa, which I think I roughed out last month, and then I finished Maggie, and then some other things. So let's get started so I could show you what I'm talking about. So here we have Lisa, and this is the Lisa run cycle. So it's finished. I did something that we then tend not to do very often on the show, which is kind of like try to give her her hair a little bit of motion. So that this is not something that we do on the show. Is we don't do any follow through or anything like that. But I thought I'd add it because I this isn't the show, so I get to do whatever I want. So that's it doesn't cycle. Let's try that again. Okay, so yeah, so that's it. Lisa's run cycle. So the silver patrons are going to actually get the little movie. And everybody else will just get the individual drawings. And yeah, this is a lot of work, so it took me some time to do. And on top of that, there was some crazy heavy deadlines this month. These last couple of months have just been very, very hectic as far as deadlines go. So it's getting even more difficult for me to do my own stuff on the side because I have far less time to do it. Next, I did Maggie. So with Maggie, what I wanted to do was something a little bit different. Like with Lisa, it's just a run cycle. There's about, how many drawings here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's generally just 6 drawings. These are just the keys. There's no in between. So that's why it looks a little choppy. And that's fine. With Maggie, though, I didn't. Maggie's special. She's really cute. I love drawing Maggie. I love working on Maggie on the show. She's so fun. But the thing about Maggie is that she falls down, right? So I started doing her little run, but I want to make sure that as she's running, she falls. And then gets back up, and then we continue back the cycle. So this is the cycle. So I staggered the timing on this cycle so that the first run she immediately falls, and the second one she actually gets a couple of runs before she falls down, and then with the second time she falls down longer. She stays down there longer, and then she gets up. So I changed the timing around. It's all the exact same drawings, but I wanted to make her fall because that's her little thing that she runs and falls. Also, with the Maggie, I didn't gray out the underdrawing, so you can see how complicated it is to draw Maggie. You have to draw her body and then put her clothes on so that you know what's going on underneath, right? Like it's not just like shapes. So oftentimes you don't really get to see her legs because of her clothes, but she's a complex character. You still need to add, and you still need to know what's going on underneath that big poofy pajama, whatever she wears, so that it makes sense, right? It's not just shapes or whatever. We're not making anything up. There's an actual body underneath all that clothes. So that's Maggie. I had a lot of fun. But her cycle out of all the family was the most difficult because I added an extra element to it. It wasn't as straightforward. All right, so I was talking to one of on Discord. I have if you're part of my Patreon supporters, there is a Discord connected to it. Like you're automatically connected to the Discord for all my patrons, and there's a fun community there. We talk a lot there. And one of my patrons, and also now has become a friend, is Steve, and he's a programmer, and he works on games. And I was talking to, and I asked him a question because I was curious about something. I'm always looking for ideas and concepts and things like that that could help not only me, but anybody who's in the drawing community, as a patron or whatever it is, to see how you could leverage drawing for a little bit of extra cash, a little bit of extra money, things that can be that can be done in a the word passive income comes to mind, but it's not always as passive as it ideally sounds. But anyway, in a passive income way, for example, a novel writer writes a novel, then the novel is complete, then they sell the novel. And yes, there's a lot that goes into selling that novel, but the idea is that now that the novel is done, you have a single product that hopefully is evergreen, especially if it's a really good novel, that people will keep recommending, and you can just keep selling the same product after you've taken some time to have done it. Comics are the same way, things like that. So I was wondering when it comes so I'm always looking for like little things like, would this be something that would be kind of a little bit of evergreen that would just bring in a little bit of money or whatever it is? Well, one of the things I was considering, and I'm considering another thing too, so I'll be bringing that up to my patrons soon. But one of the things that I was wondering was game assets. Like I noticed that like indie developers, a lot of the time they don't have time to be, they don't have the skill or to do the animation on their characters, or they need a character and they need something to use as a before they hire an artist, or even they don't have time for an artist. They just grab assets. They grab an asset pack of pre-created characters, and they could just plug into their thing and work. And I've seen, the reason I did that was because I was looking through some games on my phone, and I've noticed that there's a specific asset pack when it comes to like role-playing games, where there's this pixel art that's used all over and over and over in a lot of different games from different developers. And I'm like, oh, but they're just using the same pack and doing what they can with that. And then the game itself is unique, but the look is the same. And I was like, I wonder, can I get into doing something like that, right? Is there a market for doing the? I mean, obviously there would be, because that's the proof is in having seen it happen, right? So I asked Steve about it, and I asked him, is there any would it be smart, or is there any practical application to doing something like that? Like, would it be okay? Do you think that would be helpful? Would that actually be something that people would be interested in? And he said, I don't know. Like the truth is that you never know. You never know. Like, you can't just say, yeah, of course. The only way to find out is to try it, and that's really basically what he said. Like, I don't know, try it. Find out. And I said, okay, but how do you go about doing it? Practically, what would be the thing? I mean, you wouldn't just do. What would you do? Character just run cycle, but then what type of character, and blah blah blah. It's just like, would you have to break it all up, and then would you have to animate it yourself? Like what? Like, would you break down and make bones and on the character? And so. He came back with an interesting little proposition. He said, okay, well, what you would do, a good way of doing it is just to make like a little mini demo, game, or not even a game. You could just have some kind of thing where a character's running around, moving in the screen, and just program so that he can move around the screen. But ideally, I was thinking his original idea, which was making a little game demo where it was a little bit more practical, where a character had to actually do a thing. So that means that if like a bad guy hits the person, you need the death animation, you need the collision animation, you need the jumping animation, you need the climbing, whatever it is that specific game, simple game requires, you would have to create the assets, the backgrounds, the projectiles or whatever it is, the villains, whatever. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna give that a try, if only just for the experience, right? That, like I was thinking, just the experience. So he threw out an idea that I thought was great. Originally, he pitched that it was included my black hair kid character, which I thought was awesome, and I really wanted to do it. Except the problem is that the entire point of creating this asset pack is to sell the asset pack, and I didn't want to sell black hair kid. So I needed to create a brand new character just for the asset pack, and so I decided that it was going to be cats. So I actually, instead of coming up with the idea myself, besides the fact that it was going to be cats, I decided to outsource the concept art to my daughter. So I have a daughter who likes to draw. And before you say, oh, well, obviously she's going to be good or whatever it is, because she's my daughter and I teach her stuff, I haven't taught her almost anything. Like, she doesn't want to hear anything I have to say about drawing. She draws because she likes it. She uses other resources besides anything I ever publish or write or anything. She doesn't really pay much attention to anything I say. She likes what she likes, she does what she does, and she's completely independent of anything that I tend to talk about or do. But, so she likes really cute stuff, and so I told her about the idea, and I said, but I'm really lazy and I don't feel like designing any characters. Would you be willing to just draw me some cats? And I pitched her the general idea what the game would be. It's generally going to be one character, the main character, going up to take back like some food from another character. Basically, that's he's hungry and they're fighting over food, and that's it. Really simple. So I said, I need a black cat. It's so I can make it completely black, like a silhouette. So I outsourced the idea to her. She came back with, I said, I need the villain cat and I need the protagonist cat. So she sent me this. So this is her sketch of the protagonist. She called him Pebbles. And this is from her sketchbook. I took a photo. And so this is what she came up with. And then this is another one of her drawings. And here's another one. And then the antagonist cat, which is this one, Mr. Grumps. And she put a little post-it on his head. And then she did this little sketch here. So I'm like, okay, good. I'll take it. But of course, she broke the frigging rule, which I originally had, which was I want the protagonist cat to be black, not patchy. So I changed it. So I took her idea, and then I made my version, the version that I wanted to use. So here's this. So that's what this is, and then next month I'll show you what I did with Mr. Grumps. But I did outsource the idea for the design to my daughter, which is fun. So a nice little collaboration. I had very little thinking to do. All I had to do was just take her idea and then just kind of work with it. All right. Oh, and then today's postcard. So this month's postcard is going to be this. So I was trying, if you saw the video, I was trying to do something very different with this postcard. The idea this time was to really make the light like really glow, like a person is just just luminous, right? I really wanted the luminosity of the of the light here. This is me playing with light. So moving forward, I think I'm going to be playing more with this kind of luminosity idea, where whatever I do, I'm going to like just amp up the glowing light source, right? That's what I'm going for. Like something like the idea being that they're looking, that they're being lit by heaven, like the light of grace kind of thing. That's what I'm going for here. So I'm going to play around with this notion of luminosity more moving forward. And the winner of this month's postcard is Shopping for Noobs. I think you've won many times. So here's yet another one of the postcards that I tend to send you. So congratulations. And so that's moving forward. That's where I'm headed with these postcards. Okay, so my son had a birthday. We all went out to have a little bit birthday lunch with him, and I didn't have a sketchbook. Well, I didn't bring my sketchbook, except that I did bring my sketchbook. I have this is the sketchbook that I got from the hotel. A couple of months back, I spoke about I showed you the little sketchbook. It happened to be in the pocket of my jacket with a pen, so I just took it out and I started to doodle. And I drew my youngest daughter. I drew my youngest son. I drew this guy that was across the way from us, and there was a statue in the restaurant, and there was a bust. So I drew the bust. And I was extremely unhappy with every single one of these sketches, by the way. Like I didn't like any of these sketches. There's something about the lack of confidence in any of these drawings, the lack of control, the lack of design. I'm not happy with these sketches. I think that more practice is needed, right? All right. And then I just started to doodle. And this is something that I don't do almost ever, is just doodle in my sketchbook, not knowing what I'm going to do, just whatever comes out, I just draw a shape and then just do stuff. Something I just never do. And so I started doing it, and this is what came out. Like I just started just kind of drawing shapes and making faces and stuff. And my son said that this guy looked like Shaggy. So I drew Shaggy out of my head, and then I said, this doesn't look like Shaggy. And then I looked him up online, and then I adjusted my sketch to put him more on model. So that's why he actually looks more Shaggy-ish here than my original sketch from memory, which I didn't really know how to draw Shaggy. I just kind of wondered how it was that he looked, and then I looked him up, and then I adjusted him. My daughter just said, why don't you draw a dog mop, like a mop that is a dog? And I'm like, what? So I'm like, okay, let's see what happens if I make a mop and into a like a dog. What would a mop dog look like? So I this is what I came up with, and then I asked her to do it, and then this is what she came up with. So yeah, so I think that moving forward, if I ever have any downtime, or if I'm waiting, or if I'm in a restaurant or whatever, I think I'm gonna start doing a little bit more doodling. Just subconscious, just whatever comes out type of doodling. Um, One of the things that I don't like about doing this is that I don't have any ideas. Where to go, what kind of hair when I put a hair on people. Like I have very limited amount of hair ideas and things like that, clothes ideas. So what I was thinking, if I ever do this again and I'm doodling, especially in a public place, is that I could just steal people's looks and then just kind of make kind of use that as supplement to whatever doodle I do. We did other things with the sketchbook that I'm not sharing here because it's unless you want to see just my kids' drawings. I did the scribble thing where I just did a scribble and then I had them uh, come up with something, make a drawing out of it, and so like the next pages are just my kids' drawings. So I'm not sharing that with you because I don't know if you care. Um, if you do, just let me know and then I'll scan those and give them to you. But otherwise, it's just their weird little doodles that they came up with from the scribble game. All right, so that's it. That's this month's rewards. Um, you guys get Simpsons little animated things, and then you get a sneak peek at the designs for like the little game package that I'm coming up with. And on top of that, I'm again like I'll pitch some ideas to my patrons over on Discord to ask them if they're interested in another idea that I'm coming up that I've just come up with that may or may not be helpful, and if they're interested, then what they would like to see. So so just keep an eye on the kind of things that I'll be producing, a little bit more direct for patrons. That might be directly helpful or not. That it depends if that's what they're interested in. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being my patron. Keep an eye out on the Discord if you are my patron, for my questions about what you would want, and if possible, actually, I'll probably just put it also the question on the Patreon wall, because it'll be interesting to see what you guys have to say. But in any case, thanks for watching. Thank you for supporting me, and I will talk to you next time. All right, bye.